If you want your business to go to another level, you must try to learn and hear something new. So make the change today. So don't procrastinate and see your business grow and change. So check out Drastic Results, yeah, with Toni Harris Taylor. Toni Harris Taylor. Drastic Results, oh yeah, with Toni Harris Taylor. Yeah, yeah.
Are you a franchisor grappling with how to stimulate your franchisees' growth and revenue? Are the phrases, "I'm not comfortable networking," "I'm an introvert"? Enter Toni Harris Taylor, your answer to these challenges. With her expert guidance and program, you can empower your franchisees to conquer networking and community outreach. Toni's program is designed to equip your franchisees with the skills and confidence to show up to the right events with the right people. It goes beyond making connections. It's about nurturing and leveraging these relationships. It's about following up, collaborating, and generating leads and referrals to maximize conversions. And ultimately, increased revenue for your franchisees and for you, the franchisor. Are you ready to unlock this potential? Reach out to us at 832-479-2088. Let's embark on this journey of growth and success together.
Hi there, everyone. It's Toni Harris Taylor, CEO and founder of Drastic Results Marketing and Sales Coaching and franchisee with Network in Action. We are here with another author of The Road to Entrepreneurship Starts with Why, Mr. Keith Gerson of Gerson Advisory Services. Mr. Keith, I met networking. I was connected to him by a client, and he has become my brother. So again, great morning. If you work with me, we become family. So welcome, Keith.
Toni, thanks for having me. Yeah.
So thank you for saying yes, for being part of this project. The title again is The Road to Entrepreneurship Starts with Why, Drastic Steps to Success. So let's start off in your own words. Who are you and what do you do?
Well, I'm Keith Gerson. I'm a certified franchise executive. I help franchisors find their success. And it's definitely a calling because at the end of the day, it's about helping their franchisees to be able to live the American dream.
Yeah. And so how many years you've been around franchising?
50 years now. 50 years in August. Yes.
Years. And what's interesting is I just found out about franchising more. I mean, I knew about burgers and chicken and Subways and things like that, but I frankly just found out about franchising 5 years ago. And so I'm a baby compared to you, and I'm so glad that you're a part of my life now, so you can take me on this journey with you. So why do you love what you do? And why do you love franchising? Let's expand on that.
Franchising just creates so many opportunities. It's about wealth. It's about, for some, not for all. For others, perhaps it's just to be able to live the lifestyle that they choose to live. be their own bosses. It became very compelling for me because of the fact that I learned all the wrong lessons from all of the wrong leaders, and so that was part of my calling, was to just basically learn how to be the type of leader that I wish I had coming up. So I feel like this is an opportunity in a business model that can really help people achieve whatever they desire if they're willing to work hard enough and if they're willing to follow the system. It works.
Yes. Yes, it's key working hard and following the system. And just because you buy into a franchise system does not mean you'll be successful. So you have to follow the playbook. So you, for a long time, worked for many different brands as an employee. So what is the why that drove you to start your own business and become an entrepreneur?
I found in my career that you tend to get pigeonholed sometimes. And I was very successful in each and every one of those pigeonholes that I was placed in. But I felt like I had so much more to offer. And so there were certain constraints and limitations. And I wanted to be in the position to be able to say yes to those things that I thought was important, even though in traditional employment, I may not have been provided with that opportunity because it's just, quote, not in my job description. So I just felt that this gave me the opportunity to do what I love best and to spend my time working with the type of people that I love working with.
Awesome. So didn't want to be pigeonholed, wanted to do your own thing and work with the people that you get to choose to work with. And I love that part. Um, how does your why motivate you?
My why motivates me because I like having a good night's sleep. But when I go to bed at the end of a day, uh, I feel very, very accomplished, and I feel very good about the fact that I'm making a difference in this world. Some people, they're born with the gift to be able to have the acumen become doctors, and other people go on missions and etc. This to me is my calling. I've known it from the first day I entered into the business. It just motivates me to know that I'm helping people discover their potential. That's what I really do. I help them, and I'm a big believer in truisms. That old saying about, if you give me a fish, I'll eat well today, but if you teach me how to fish, I'll eat well always. And that's what really, really motivates me, knowing that I can actually step out of the equation, and the people that I work with are going to be able to just take the ball and run with it and find their success. And I collect. This may sound odd to some. I collect blessing. I hear from people that I have mentored and that I've worked with over decades and decades in this business that will just send me. They'll find me on LinkedIn. They'll find my email address. They track me down, and they'll send me these wonderful, wonderful things about the differences that I made in their life as a result of the work that I did. And again, being the king of cliches, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And that's something that I have found that has just brought me much peace in my life. I typically don't like talking about the money equation because that was never ever first on my list, but it certainly paid dividends. I believe in casting your bread upon the waters.
Well, listen, he is the king of cliches. I just got to put that out there. I love that about him. And so am I. So we trade these quips back and forth. But you said something that plays into the next question, I think, and that is, how do you define success? And how has this definition evolved over time?
Based on how I answered this last question, I've mentioned that the dollars are not a big motivator for me. I live very, very, very comfortably. I'm better than I deserve. I'm definitely blessed. Uh, but the money is secondary. And I say that because if that's what one seeks, there's never ever enough. You know, you feel like you need more, you need more, you need more. And that's how you measure your value in terms of the monetary component. I don't do that. I do it on the basis because I love to do it and because I think that it's meaningful, and so that again makes me feel really really good about myself at the end of the day, and I measure my success from the success I've helped others find, and
And
I'm quite comfortable with saying that when it comes to money, I just need enough, just enough. I don't need more than enough.
I love that. And when you do for others and you're living your why, the money comes. It's I see it over and over again. So because then you become more attractive because
Yeah,
people want to be around you because you feel like you're working in purpose and not in dollars and cents.
yeah.
All right. So, how do you stay motivated and focused on your goals, especially when life is lifing and we have tough times?
Life is lifing. I love that. I will say that I'm pretty self-aware, and I'm not necessarily the most organized person ever. Uh, and so I work really, really hard at setting up systems that work for me to stay on top of my game. Um, Tony, let's wind it back for a moment. State the question again, please.
So, the question is, how do you stay motivated and focused on your goals when life is hard?
Yeah. So in my life, I am convinced that there are people that are a whole lot smarter than I am, and that I have to fight, especially after 50 years in this business, to make sure that people don't believe that I'm limited to like that first year of my career and I'm repeating it 50 times. I wake up every day and saying, I need to be relevant. I need to make sure that I am the best that I can be. And one of my cliches also is there's only one way to coast, and that's downhill. So I used to play a game in which, at the end of a work week, I would fire myself. And when I come to work on Monday, I'm working for the same company, but I would psychologically say, when I'd come in on that following Monday, that poor guy, he just didn't know his way out of a paper bag here. And I wanted to have that objectivity and that willingness to look at myself and willingness to look at what I was accomplishing or not accomplishing, and just basically rededicating, but coming in without that defensiveness. Because I think we've all been there where we have left or we've come into a company and recognize though that they were just totally going down the wrong path, but they didn't have the objectivity to really see what they were doing wrong. So I again work very very hard at making sure I'm relevant. I read voraciously. I work really hard at listening to what other people have to say. I went ahead and uh, subscribe to different publications. And I strive to just think outside of the box, but I make sure I never lose sight of what's inside of the box, the fundamentals of business. So I keep myself motivated that way by recognizing that the only thing I know for sure is that I don't. So
Uh,
it keeps me going.
so, this is a really good question for you. 50 years, what role has networking and building relationships played in your success?
The largest role. I can't think of anything that has helped me more than the fact that I've established relationships, and I've worked very hard based on having strong core values. To stay true to those values, that core values really are immutable. They should never change. I don't care if it's a pandemic, a recession. I don't care what's happening. You have to stay true to your core values. So that's what I've done, and as a result, I develop credibility because I've been consistent. I've showed up. Uh, I've always acted with the highest values. And so all the good things that have happened to me have come to me because people have trusted me and they like me and they know who I am and what I stand for. And it's always been word of mouth. It's always been people wanting to see me succeed. But that's because I always put other people before I put myself. And again, the law of reciprocity is such that when you do kind things for other people, they want to do kind things for you. And it's not a manipulation. I never ever expect anything back in return. And I'm always just joyous when somebody does that for me because I don't think they have to. But that's really what's helped me in my career more than anything else I can think of.
So when we first met, one of the things we bonded over was the fact that you called yourself a super connector. I'm like, no, you're not the super connector. I'm the super connector. So we bonded over the fact that we both love helping people, which has helped both of us because we have made connections for one another as well. And if the more, I just don't think enough people understand the power of relationships. Fundamentally, they do. Even they say they that we're nothing without other people, but I don't think they spend the time building those connections and those relationships that really do matter. But I think the more we can, and one of the things you and I both can do and are doing is helping our clients and network understand the power of relationships. Because once we leave them with that, it goes on exponentially, right? So once they get it, they teach somebody else, and so on and so on.
Yeah, I mentioned being a voracious reader. I'll share with you two quotes. The individual that I'm quoting is Ray Kroc, the founder of McDonald's. Technically, the McDonald brothers were the founders, but the thing about Ray Kroc, though, was he knew the power of franchising. He knew the power of helping others. And so here's two quotes. One is, he said, the more I help others succeed, the more I succeed. He also said, if you work for the money, you'll never make it. But if you love what you're doing and you put your customers first, you'll always have it. And so I just think that really kind of sums up the fact that we can't just be focusing on ourselves. You'll receive when you help others. And that's what, to me, networking is all about. Is we're showing up and just basically asking the question, how can I help you? How can I help you succeed? How can I help you find your success?
Absolutely. Excellent. Okay. What advice would you give to aspiring entrepreneurs about taking risk and making bold decisions? And I'm going to tweak it a little bit and say aspiring franchisees.
Sure, fair enough. I would say that basically you've got to be your own authentic self, and your brand has to be its own authentic thing. In the 22 immutable laws of branding, which I think was written by Al Ries, I believe is his name, Ries, if I'm not mistaken. Fabulous, but he talks about zigging when everybody else is zagging. And I do an exercise with my clients and when I do keynote speeches, etc., in which I ask people to choose themselves out of a lineup. And I will go ahead and have websites, but you can't see the branding. And it goes ahead and it focuses on how people say, this is who we are, this is what we do, this is why it matters. And I ask them to see if they can tell me which is their brand versus four of their competitors. And it never ever ceases to amaze me that it pretty much is an even split between all of the brands, and the fact that people really don't know which is their brand because everybody's saying the same darn thing. Right. So I think that it's so important to take that risk and find out where and how you're truly different than the others in order to effectively outcompete the competition. So at the end of the day, though, I don't care how good your pizza is. I don't care how good your apple pies are. Delighting the customer is what always yields the best returns, opposed to countering or copying a competitor.
Yeah. Okay, so can you share a story of a major setback you faced in life or business and how you turned that into an opportunity?
Thinking back to a role that I had as president and chief operating officer for a major franchise company. I would say that the failure was that there were internal politics with two struggling owners that were diametrically opposed, and each of them had a 50% interest in ownership. So one would block the other, and they'd be at a total impasse, and so nothing could happen. So that's part of the reason I was brought in to this particular company. What happened, however, though, is I was showing too much alignment with one of the partners whose operating style was more similar to my operating style and had the same basic values and standards, and the other saw that as being threatening. And so I found myself sideways with one of the two owners, even though performance was the only reality, and my performance was stellar. But it didn't stop me from the end of the day from having failed, because we got back into this juggernaut of sorts that was occurring, and so I ended up leaving that organization. And as much as I had actually accomplished there, I had to leave before I had come anywhere near to what the potential was of that company. Now, it actually created a real great opportunity for me. At the next organization I went to, I was able to pick up the ball where I left it, so to speak, and I had some of my greatest successes that I probably wouldn't have had had I not gone through what I did, and if I hadn't added that to my modus operandi in terms of where and how to approach these situations in the future, and how to make sure that anyone I worked with, and especially when there are people at odds, had the ability to be able to see that I was being as fair and objective with them as I were with the other parties involved. So it turned into a huge success. And I will tell you that I actually had a conversation with the one founder that I ran afoul with, who basically said that that was his biggest regret, that it caused me to leave the company. So I felt somewhat vindicated, though I didn't take any of it personal, to know that he considers that his biggest mistake now.
Awesome,
So
awesome. Well, I love how you took that and took it into the next role as a learning opportunity. So, what role has mentorship or coaching played in your entrepreneurial journey? And you being a coaching client of mine, which I'm honored that you chose me to coach you on this journey. But what role along the way has mentoring and coaching helped?
well, it helped me immensely when I was new to franchising myself, that there were people that were willing to take me under their wing and to help me really fail fast, and to learn from what they had gone through in establishing just world-class organizations. It inspired me to basically be, again, as I said, the type of boss that I wish that I had when I was coming up. But it was a positive example now, and one that I said to myself, I need to be that for others. And I had someone that I worked with who basically said, the best way you can repay me is to pay it forward. And that's what I've done over the course of my years in the business. So um, I think though that it just reinforces the fact that the currency of real networking at the end of the day isn't greed, but it's generosity. And
Yes.
these people were so generous to me. And when I say that I'm a super connector, uh, I'm honored that I can pick up the phone and call so many different people, and they're there for me if I need it. But conversely, I make it very, very clear, and it's very important to me to be there for others when they have a need.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, what's one piece of advice you would give to someone starting their entrepreneurial franchise journey?
If we're talking about entrepreneurial journey into franchising, I would say if I was speaking to a franchisee, I would basically say, you know, it's got to be more than the people that you fall in love with, because we have a tendency to buy services and buy things on the basis of meeting somebody that really is good at conveying and making you feel good about yourself, and rah rah, I want to do this, I'm gonna make $1 million, etc. I think that it's really, really important though, because so many people, when they're about to buy a franchise, don't really do their homework. The advice that I would say is take the time, because most franchisors will say, maybe say some say with conviction, and others would rather you don't do this, but pick up the phone. In the item 20 of the franchise disclosure document is going to be the names and contact information with all the franchisees that work in that business. And prepare a list of questions and call and ask questions like, if you could do it all over again, would you?
Mhm.
And find out from others how they feel about their journey, and if they would in fact recommend the brand. Do your homework, read the franchise disclosure document, look at reviews online, in terms of, because I'll tell you, for every loss of a gold star on Google, when you're collecting 5-star reviews, for every loss of a star equates to about a 10% decline in revenues. So if you're
Mm.
joining a brand that doesn't have stellar reviews, I'm not saying they have to be 5-star reviews, but doesn't have hundreds, if not thousands, of reviews of people that say they love the brand, uh, then I would advise you not to go there. I would also say that I would never buy a franchise from a brand that does not make a financial business representation, which is also known as item 19. Because
Mhm.
typically, if they don't make that financial business representations, because they don't have a good story to tell. So
Mm.
stick with ones that have item 19, so you have a better sense of how the averages and the medians look compared to others. And so these are all very, very important things. If you're a franchisor, my advice to you, if you're an emerging brand, is the choices that you make initially in your first franchisees is going to make you or break you. Some people are just so anxious to get that one time non-reoccurring franchise fee that they
Mhm.
settle. And they
Mhm.
settle with people that, if they're not knocking it out of the ballpark, they will absolutely stilt and stunt your ability to be able to expand your brand. And also, don't do this if you do not have enough working capital, because people are really relying upon you. And I know some people who just start taking real shortcuts because of the fact that they just don't have enough capital to provide the type of support and help their franchisees succeed. So I know that
Wow.
these are very franchise specific things that
And
I
I
would say.
love that. And I wanted that. So you answered it perfectly with really good answers. So I thank you for that. So, how do you balance work and personal life? Now, you've been married 50 years. So you entered franchising and marriage at the same time.
Right.
So,
Yes, I
how do you balance work and personal life, and what drastic measures have you taken to achieve this balance? First of
In
all,
the early, yeah,
congratulations for being married 50
yeah,
years.
yeah, thank you. Thank
To the
you.
same girl. This ain't three
Uh,
marriages added together. Okay, good.
yeah, absolutely, same one. Um, when I first started on this path, I did not have great work-life balance, but I found a way to try to incorporate it. So even as I was having children, I would take my children mystery shopping with me as I was going through my QSR restaurants. I'd give them money to go in. They tell me to this day, this was so much fun. It's like, here's a 20, buy whatever they upsell you, but I want you to come back, and I trained them on what to look for. So
I
I
love that.
managed at least initially to blend the two. So it felt like work-life balance, but I was working long, hard days, like 16-hour days, 6 days a week, etc. Um, it got to the point that I really recognized, though, that if I was going to, remain happily married and have well-balanced children, etc., that I had to strike a better work-life balance. And so that was achieved in large part because of the fact that I basically just recognized that there was nothing that was going on that couldn't wait until the next day. And so I just started keeping reasonable work hours and making sure that I preserved my time because I was for my family, but because I was doing that, my family was so much more understanding when things came up. It didn't permit me to be able to do that. I had their full support, which was very, very important. So I got to the point ultimately where I would start my workday very, very early in the morning. So I was not taking away from my family. So I'm saying like
Mhm.
5 a.m. in the morning. And so by the time that they're up and about, et cetera, I was able to basically have more time available to them as a result. So I would just have to say it's a great question, because I think if you don't have that work-life balance, what's the point? What are you really, really working for? If not to be able to take care of your family and have peace and love, surrounding you every single day.
So that 5 a.m. getting up early is the drastic measure that you took when your kids were still at home. And then also shutting it off, realizing what else is drastic is realizing things can wait.
Yeah,
That
and
they're
believe me, you're not going to do your best work if you're really at odds with your family. You're
absolutely.
not. It's going to weigh you down. It's going to distract you. So I would just say start early while other members are still sleeping in bed. But I would say also it's just like sleep. The sleep experts will tell you you should really go to bed at the same time every single night, and you should really wake up around the same time every single day. Those are experts' advice. I say the same thing with family. Start at the same time every day, knock off at the same time every single day.
Absolutely. Let's go. We're almost to the end. What is the legacy you want to leave as an entrepreneur, and how do you plan to achieve that?
I measure my success through the success of those that I've helped over the years. That's my legacy. Somebody who is basically succeeding uh, and has a good life, and that I've been able to contribute to in a small way. That's what really keeps me going. And as I mentioned, I received not that long ago from a woman named Carol, who worked for me 48 years ago, who sent me this unsolicited email about the difference I made in her life and how
Yeah,
she was able to create such a good life for herself on the balance of the opportunity that I was able to create for her. That's a legacy that will live long after I'm gone. So
absolutely. I love that. Um, what does being a part of this book mean to you, and what message do you hope to convey to the readers?
it's more of what we've been talking about it here. It's just basically giving with nothing else you expect in return. It's the fact that I'm able to take my truths and share them with others in the hope that they can go ahead and put it in their heart.
Yeah. Yeah. And then lastly, what's your contact information for anyone who wants to connect with you?
Thank you. My email address is keith@gersonadvisory.com. That's Gerson, Keith@gersonadvisory.com. And my website, which has contact information on it, is gersonadvisoryservices.com.
Wonderful. Well, Keith, I am so grateful that you said yes to being a part of this project, that you have come into my life. And I just can't wait to see what the future is going to bring for us together. And you're an
Amen.
amazing person. And we just got a lot to do helping franchise Ors and Zs to win. So thank you again. This is
Thank you.
Toni Harris Taylor saying, take a drastic step today for a fantastic tomorrow. And we'll see you with the next interview.